Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the channel. Happy Friday. Happy Freaky Friday to all you freaks out there. I hope your day and your week have been going very well so far. Got a new day, which of course means a new NBA player prop video to share with you guys. But first, as always, people, please make sure to go ahead and hit the subscribe button, hit that like button, and drop a comment down below. It helps the channel grow, and it really does mean a ton to us. With a new day comes some new opportunities to go ahead and make some money. Guys, the vibes are immaculate right now. We have been cashing lately. We're on a really hot run, and of course, today is Friday, which our Freaky Friday 5-leg parlay is today. We have a chance to win some more units today, a lot more units today. With the way we've been cashing lately, I got a really good feeling coming into today's video, and I hope everybody does. Like I said, if you've been tailing with me the last couple of days, we've won a lot of units. A lot of positive momentum coming into this one. It's over plus 500 odds, as always. Let's keep the good vibes going. Comment Freaky down below, and if today's parlay hits, one lucky commenter will receive a free $20 Amazon gift card. And real quick, before we dive into today's parlay, a quick little recap of how we did last night. I kind of spoiled it already, but we had a really solid night last night. 3-1 on our single bets. We almost went 4-0. Walker Kessler over 22.5 points, rebounds, assists. We missed it by 1 point, rebound, assist. But you know what? We're not going to get too greedy because the way we cashed that Jaden Ivey prop was absolutely insane. Over 18.5 points plus assists. He had no assists last night. He had 15 points going into the final 5 seconds of last night's game. And then with 3 seconds left, he commits a 4-point play. Hits a 3, draws the foul, hits the free throw. So we cash on a miracle play. The Pistons also won the game off that miracle play. So we're not going to get too greedy here. We got the win. We went 3-1 last night. Really solid, up 1.69 units. We're quietly having a really solid year with our single bets. 78 and 66 on the year, up 3.63 units. Of course, on our parlays going into today, we're 8-15, up 7.59 units. So across the board, since the start of the year, parlays, single bets, everything, we're up over 10 units on the show. So really solid year so far. Let's keep it rolling, guys. 5-leg Freaky Friday parlay coming your way right now. Jumping right into the outlier screen, guys, our first pick in today's parlay comes from the Knicks Magic game, 7 p.m. tip-off. We're going Jalen Brunson of the New York Knicks, over 29.5 points plus rebounds plus assists. Of course, most of these guys are alternate lines. But the beauty of using alternate lines, guys, the data is usually always really solid across the board. You see for Brunson here, 6 of his last 10 games, he's cashed the over, averaging 32.8 points plus rebounds plus assists per game this season. So far in 2024, over the last 10 games, I should say. So far this season, a 67% hit rate on the over for Brunson. Apologies, guys, if you hear some like weird noises. My puppy Bruin, he's 9 months old now, so he's still a puppy. He's been getting into some bad behavior, chewing stuff up, so I have to keep him downstairs with me while I record. Usually the dogs stay upstairs while I record, but for today, if you hear some bone chewing, if you hear some mild barking, I do apologize for that. He is down here. Got to keep an eye on the little guy so he doesn't get into anything else. So right now, he's chewing on his bone. Hopefully he stays quiet through most of the recording. But yeah, so far this year, 67% hit rate on the over for Brunson, 20 out of 30 games. He's cashed the over, averaging 35.07 points plus rebounds plus assists per game this year. So pretty solid data across the board. The head-to-head data is also pretty intriguing. 4 of his last 5 meetings against the Orlando Magic, he's cashed the over. It's an 80% hit rate, averaging 34.4 points plus rebounds plus assists per game. So pretty good numbers across the board. The only time he missed was back in this year on December 3rd. He had 21 points, 2 rebounds, and 4 assists. A very narrow miss. So really good numbers across the board here for Brunson. The head-to-head data, Orlando obviously were the best defensive team in the NBA, no doubt. But they do have a little bit of weakness versus point guards. They are giving up the 21st most points in the NBA, 25 points per game to opposing point guards. So that's ranked 21st in the NBA. Seems like a pretty good head-to-head spot there for Brunson. The head-to-head data, the season data, the last 10 data, everything looks solid on this prop, and the insights provided by Outlier. Jalen Brunson has exceeded 32.5 points, rebounds, assists in 8 of his last 9 games in a row. It's an average of 39.8 points plus rebounds plus assists per game average over the last 9 games. And again, we have it at 29.5, so if you lower it, it's still the same data, but an 89% hit rate over his last 9 on the road. Really solid numbers there for Brunson. All right, guys, our second prop in today's slate, we have Pacers Celtics 7:30 p.m. tip-off. We're going Pascal Siakam of the Indiana Pacers over 19.5 points plus assists. Again, alternate line like usual. The data looks solid on this one as well. 7 of his last 10 games, he's cashed the over. A 70% hit rate, averaging 20.9 points plus assists per game. If we narrow this down a little bit to the last 5 games, you see a 100% hit rate over his last 5 games, averaging 24 points plus assists per game over his last 5. Overall in 2024, an 81% hit rate on this over. 25 out of 31 games he's cashed it, averaging 23.48 points plus assists per game so far this year. So really good numbers for Siakam. And if that didn't convince you guys, the head-to-head data is going to knock your socks off here. Each of his last 10 meetings with the Boston Celtics, including playoffs, including last season, he's cashed the over, averaging 27.1 points plus assists per game against the Celtics. This line has had a consistent cash versus Boston. He's played them one time so far this year on October 30th, and it was his best game of the last 10 games. He had 29 points and 5 assists back on October 30th against Boston. And when you look at that matchup data, it makes a ton of sense. Versus power forwards this year, the Celtics are 27th in points allowed and 24th in assists allowed. So bottom 6 in both of those categories. Siakam matches up very well versus Boston. The overall data, the head-to-head data, this is the best data from any prop in today's slate and looks really, really solid. All right, guys, our third prop in today's slate, we have the Grizzlies-Pelicans game, 8 p.m. tip-off. We got Ja Morant of the Memphis Grizzlies over 29.5 points plus assists. I'll be honest, out of all the legs in today's parlay, this is definitely the riskiest leg because the data is not fantastic on this one. But this is all about the matchup spot for me. You see, just 4 of his last 10 games, he's cashed the over, averaging 27.9 points plus assists per game. So far in 2024, just a 47% hit rate on this over. He's cashed in 9 out of 19 games this season, averaging 28.95 points plus assists per game this year. So like I said, data across the board is not great, but it's all about the matchup for me here. Now, the head-to-head data is the one area where this is pretty solid. You see each of his last 3 meetings with the New Orleans Pelicans, he's cashed the over, averaging a whopping 38 points plus assists per game against the Pelicans. He had a lot of success versus New Orleans. They have played once this year back on November 29th, and he had 27 points and 7 assists in that game. So it seems like a pretty solid spot here. Overall, the Pelicans, not a very good defensive team, bottom 5 in both points and assists allowed in general. And if we narrow that down to point guards, they are literally the worst team in the NBA. 30th in points allowed, 30th in assists allowed. They are the worst defensive team in the NBA against point guards, giving up 27.3 points and 10.7 assists per game. So a really, really good matchup here for Morant. You add the fact that he's cashed each of his last 3 meetings with New Orleans, including the one time they played this season. And look at Ja Morant. The only reason why I like this now, obviously they're on the second night of a back-to-back, which obviously is a little bit concerning. You got to wonder, the Grizzlies are really weird with how they do their minutes and their rotations, but Memphis does have some key injuries that could lead to more minutes for Morant. They got a lot of guys out, but specifically Marcus Smart and Vinny Williams both being out in this spot means you got to have to play Morant a little bit more. You don't have the depth to sit him more. Now, he's averaging 34 minutes per game in those 3 meetings. The last time he played, he cashed it. He didn't even play 30 minutes. He had 28.6 minutes. So we don't need him to play a crazy amount of minutes. I think even if he only plays, let's say exactly 30 minutes, he should be able to go ahead and get a cash here. Like I said, definitely the riskiest leg of the parlay, but the matchup is just so sweet, I can't ignore it. All right, guys, our fourth leg of our 5-leg parlay. We're moving on to Cleveland, Denver, 9 p.m. tip-off. We're going Jared Allen of the Cavaliers over 19.5 points, rebounds, assists. Over the last 10 games, you do see a 50% hit rate, which is not bad. But if we go ahead and expand the data overall across the season, it looks really, really solid. 70% hit rate. He's cashed the over in 21 out of 30 games this year, averaging 24.83 points, rebounds, assists per game. Now, again, over the last 10 games or so, you're starting to see the numbers dip a little bit more, a little less consistency with the cashes. But even over the last 10 games, he's still averaging 20.7 points, rebounds, assists per game. So a little bit down from his overall season numbers, but still pretty solid overall. And the head-to-head data is also pretty solid. Each of his last 3 meetings with the Denver Nuggets, he's cashed the over at 100% hit rate, averaging 26 points, rebounds, assists per game. They have played once already this year, back on December 5th, and he had 8 points, 15 rebounds, and 6 assists in that game. So we know he can cash it. He already did it once this year. He's done it each of his last 3. And look at Denver overall this year versus centers. They definitely are not that great. 20th in points allowed, 28th in rebounds allowed, and 19th in assists allowed. So across the board, a really solid matchup here for Jared Allen. My only fear in this one is it could be a blowout because of the fact that Denver is missing no Aaron Gordon, Jamal Murray game time decision. Those things could affect the outcome of the game, the score of the game. So Cleveland, who is mostly healthy, they're missing Okoro and a couple game time decisions there with some of their bench guys. But that's the only fear I have is maybe a blowout could prevent this from hitting. But I like the spot for Jared Allen. I think he should go ahead and get a pretty comfortable cash in this spot. The last time they played, he did play 35 minutes, but even the previous 2 meetings, he cashed it one time when he played less than 27 minutes. So we don't really need him to play a ton of minutes. I think even if he only plays between 25 and 30 minutes, we do look pretty solid here for a cash. All right, guys, in our 5th and final leg in today's parlay, we have Mavs Suns, 9 p.m. tip-off. We got Tyus Jones of the Phoenix Suns over 19.5 points, rebounds, and assists. I know this is an alternate line, guys, but minus 210 is actually a really valuable prop considering the situation. So At first glance, the data looks pretty good. 7 of his last 10 games, he's cashed the over, a 70% hit rate, averaging 22.4 points, rebounds, assists per game. So far in 2024, a 69. Pause for applause on Freaky Friday. Come on, guys. You got to go ahead and pause for applause. 69% hit rate on the year, 20 out of 29 games this season. He's cashed the over, averaging 21.76 points plus rebounds plus assists per game this season. So across the board, really good numbers, a lot of green there. The head-to-head category, each of his last 3 meetings with the Dallas Mavericks, he's cashed the over, 75% over his last 4 games, averaging 23.5 points plus rebounds plus assists per game. He has played Dallas 2 times already this year, on October 26th, on November 8th, and in both those meetings, he cashed the over. Now, there were a couple narrow cashes there, but they still cash nonetheless. Overall, Dallas this year, about middle of the road defensively versus point guards. They're actually not halfway bad. I mean, they're pretty decent. 10th in points allowed, so pretty good there. 20th in rebounds allowed, not so good. And 14th in assists allowed, middle of the road. Overall, I'd say they're at about an average defensive team against point guards individually. Now, why I said earlier why there's so much value on this, well, because of the injuries to Phoenix right now. Obviously, Dallas, Luke is out for an extended period of time, so that also might help us a little bit there. But obviously, no Grayson Allen, no Devin Booker, no Colin Gillespie. So they're a little bit banged up right now with their guards, which could mean A, more minutes for Tyus Jones, and B, more ball handling responsibilities for Tyus Jones. When you take Grayson Allen and Devin Booker off the court, obviously Bradley Beal and Kevin Durant are still there, but Tyus Jones should get a lot more touches, especially with Devin Booker out. All right, guys, so those are all 5 legs in today's parlay. Quick little run through here. We have Jared Allen over 19.5 points, rebounds, assists. Pascal Siakam over 19.5 points plus assists. John Morant over 29.5 points plus assists. Tyus Jones over 19.5 points, rebounds, assists. And Jalen Brunson over 29.5 points, rebounds, assists. You parlay all 5 together, you got a parlay of plus 543 odds. Again, not as juicy as the one on Christmas, but still a really solid parlay here. With the way we've been cashing lately, I'm feeling very confident going into today's parlay. I do apologize to all my FanDuel people out there, all my BetMGM people, all my ESPN Bet people. Look, I look for the best odds out there. If DraftKings provides them, I'm going to use DraftKings. If you guys aren't on DraftKings and it's not available to you, I do apologize sincerely. I don't want people to think I'm a DraftKings homer or anything. But, they offer the best alternate lines for parlays and whatnot. When we have single bets like yesterday, I try to use BetMGM and FanDuel and other odds. But when it comes to parlays and alternate lines, DraftKings right now in the NBA are giving the best options. Now, that changes sometimes. In the beginning of the year was FanDuel. Now it's DraftKings. It all changes. But if you guys can't parlay this, you can find some alternate lines. You can add a couple points or subtract, and you can find them on other sports books. But yeah, we got a 5-leg parlay plus 543 odds. Guys, that is it for me today. Apologies for that screen there. That is it for me today. Thank you very much, those, for watching. One more time, guys, please make sure to go ahead and hit the subscribe button, hit that like button, and drop a comment down below. I'll be back tomorrow with another NBA player prop video. But until then, guys, I hope you're all winners. Enjoy your Freaky Friday. Let's keep on cashing, baby. Let's go.